we're just waiting for more people to join in. And yeah, so as soon as people, like, we'll wait for a few minutes after 8 before we start.
We can talk though. May you've got a female dog. Which breed?
I think Shih Tzu. I'm answering.
Were you talking about me?
Yes, we
Yes,
were talking
yes.
about you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a Shih Tzu and she's going through her first heat right now. So we have like a lot of questions.
Okay. My dog
I
Pepper is also going through her first heat. She's 6 months old, and oh God, it's a wild ride. It's a very wild ride.
Nice. My brownie, she's taking it really well. So that's at least good. I mean, she's been in a happy mood, always playful. So that's cool.
Fingers crossed. I hope it stays like that.
Yeah.
pretty moody.
Is this your
Sakshina
first
has
dog?
No, I've had dogs before, but the first female dog.
Okay, okay, okay. Mansi, you've had any female dogs before?
You're asking me. There are 2 Mansis on the call now. Are you asking?
Does the other Mansi also have a dog?
No, this is
Yeah.
This is the third Mansi. So this is Mansi Srivastava. She's a host on the platform. Mansi, I'll let you answer that question.
Sure, thank you. Yes, I had a dog actually, but she died very prematurely, 5 years of age. But yeah, when I remember when she had her first heat, she was very confused, and so was I because it was the first female dog, and it was the first dog that I ever had. So every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes, she'll walk and then she'll drop a drop of blood, and then she'll be like, "What am I doing?" So
Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay. Pepper's been like, so with my other dog Misty. So Misty's now 10 years old, but her first heat was pretty smooth. Like there was no excessive barking, no mood swings. Like she was just how she usually is. Her behavior changed after we neutered her, like in a good way, but like she became a little more calm and quiet. But with my this dog Pepper, oh my God. Like she wants to bark every now and then. She wakes up in the middle of the night if she hears like a leaf move, and then she'll keep barking at it, and she's feeling threatened by everything. Like yesterday, so I'm here like in a different accommodation setup where there's like a line of rooms, and there was a bucket kept in front of my room, ulta karke. And the room was open, and I tied her to the door so that she could see outside. And she kept barking, 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 and I couldn't understand for the longest period of time what she's barking at. And she was barking at a bucket. And I was like, it's not that she has now not seen buckets in her life before. She gets a bath, so she's seen a bucket. And I was like, oh my God, Pepper, like how do I deal with this? Like I just cannot. And then 6 a.m. in the morning, she has picked up this pattern. 6 a.m. in the morning, she'll wake up, she'll start barking, and then my husband will be like, quiet, and then she'll sleep. Like, it's just so random. Like, why is this happening 6 a.m. every morning? But yeah, she's been doing that. And then, like, she's she wants all sorts of cozy places. So she doesn't like her bed anymore. She doesn't like our bed. She wants just the blanket. Like, wherever she goes, she'll look for a blanket that's like soft. Whatever room she goes in, she needs a blanket to sort of lie on. And she's usually not very particular about where she sleeps. She'll sleep wherever. So she's been doing all of that, but and also like in between she becomes a little aggressive, and I'm like, ये कहाँ से आ रहा है? ये तो मैंने पहले नहीं देखा था. अभी क्या हो रहा है? Now she wants space. पास जाओ तो she wants space and all, and I'm like, okay, bro, you take your space. So she's been doing all of that. You've been observing all these things in your dogs. Is this what's happening? for people whose dogs are in heat, which would be like most of you because this is like the heat season.
Yeah. I actually wanted to ask you about this heat season, like when we were chatting, like why, and surprisingly, since we spoke about this, since you told me that this is the heat season, there are a couple of people who've come back and said, "Oh, our dog's gone into heat," and I'm like, "Oh my God, that's so true. It is actually the heat season."
It's I so ideally ऐसा नहीं होता है कि ये सीजन में heat आता है, but what it's somehow regulated by the climate, and most puppies are born either in December, like in the winter months, or in the summer months, right? So the puppies who are born in summer months will go through their first heat season sometime in winter months, and puppies who are born in winter months will go through their first heat in summer months. So now this is that summer month wala phase going on. So yeah, it's just
I
like that. Ideally, cats का ऐसा होता है. They are more, their heat cycles are more dependent on the climate. But what I've seen here more in India, it's like summer and winter. But then if we were to talk about different breeds, for example, Shih Tzus or maybe Great Danes, तो उनका इतना winter summer जितना नहीं होगा, because like bigger dogs might get heat only once a year, and smaller dogs may even get it 3 times a year. But that's rare, but it happens. तो उनका इतना ये नहीं होता, but medium sized dogs are usually like twice a year, summer winter. That's what I've seen.
got it. I think what we can do is, I think we have a couple of more people who've joined in. If you guys would want to talk about your dogs, the breed, age, and whether they are also going through heat right now or not, that will be helpful. And then maybe Dr. Chinar, you can start the session and people can keep joining in.
Okay.
Can you see people who've joined in and somebody who want to go first? Yeah.
Aditi, Muskan, you guys, hi.
Hi. As of now, my female, she isn't in heat, but she will be anytime soon. That's what I presume, because her
Oh,
cycle
you
is due anytime. Unfortunately, she has not been spayed yet. I wanted to spay her. I recently changed cities, and I was thinking, okay, the medical care here is better, so I will get it done here. But
okay.
in sorry.
Nothing. Go on.
So yeah. But what I've been noticing is that since I moved to a different place, she is really anxious and she's lost all her confidence. She's been following me around. I was advised to wait a bit, let her settle down, because if I get her spayed right now, it's gonna worsen the confidence issues. That's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, she's already so nervous about it, and then it's not basically the spaying that will help, that will sort of worsen the confidence issues, but it is the whole process. Going to the vet, putting her through anesthesia, and then the post the spaying, there's like post-op care that goes on for 5-6 days. So it's a very different phase, and they usually, I mean, who likes getting operated, right? And especially dogs when they don't know what's happening to them. So
Yeah.
that can really impact the confidence if she's already nervous about being at a new place. Maybe you give her 6 months to a year to settle down a little bit, and
Yeah.
then once she's used to the place, then you think about, spaying
Yeah.
her.
Also, I was told about the hormones thingy, because whenever I get her spayed, it's gonna take away a lot of the hormones, I guess, and that that is primarily what's gonna worsen also the confidence issues. Yes, the whole thing about getting operated also is very scary-ish, and
Yeah.
recovering is never an easy thing, whether even if it's such a small thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was told that too.
Yes.
All right.
Then we have Muskan. Mm,
Is this Swati? Is there? I saw some. think Swati joined you.
Yes, there's a Swati.
Okay. What we can do is, Dr. Chana, maybe we can start the session, and whenever people, people can ask their questions in the chat. If they want to introduce themselves in the chat, they can also do that in case they are
Yeah.
unable to unmute and talk. But maybe we can
Yeah.
just start.
Okay, okay. So this session is going to be about managing heat in female dogs. And initially, we were planning to do a session on ticks and fleas, and but then we thought, oh, this is like the heat season. There will be a lot of dogs who will be going through this through heat right now, or would be about to go into heat. So we thought this should be like a more time appropriate topic. Plus, I have a female dog, and I've always had female dogs, but most of the time I've lived with my parents for all my life, and they were taking care of all the things. So this is like the first time that I was taking care of it alone as a pet parent. So as a veterinarian, I give out a lot of advice on what you should do when your dogs are in heat. But how many things are possible practically? How many things are possible practically at home is different than what a vet will advise you. So this is basically from the perspective of me being a veterinarian and of me also being a pet parent, to see, like what's practically applicable and what's practically not applicable. So let's understand what heat is. Heat is basically dog periods. So when we say a dog is in heat, we're like, oh, the dog is on her periods. And it's actually quite opposite of what happens in humans. When humans go into heat or have their periods, that is the time when they're not very, that's the time when if you cannot really bear child, I mean 90% of the cases. And for dogs, this is the period when they're gone, they attract mates, they attract males towards themselves, because this is the time when they can get pregnant. So it is basically, heat is also known as estrus in medical terms, period in simpler terms, and it is the period of fertility. Basically, the time period when she can find or she will try and attract a male dog to mate. And a lot of factors that periods depend on are like frequency, duration, and severity. They depend on age and breed of the female. So the first period usually comes at around 5 to 6 months of age, and this period, like five and a half months, is for smaller breeds like Shih Tzus, Lhasas. And once, if you're talking about medium sized dogs, then they'll get their period at like 6 to 9 months of age. And then if you're talking about large dogs, they sometimes get their periods post like 14, 15 months of age. So there's no really fixed time. It happens before 2 years of age, that's for sure. But a lot of these factors, a lot of the times, the time frame in which heat happens depends on the breed. During this time, dogs experience a lot of physical and hormonal and behavioral changes, and it can be very confusing for them. For humans, it's easier for us when somebody explains to us, what is period, what is happening to us. With dogs, they go through all of these things, but they don't know why they're going through all of these things or what is happening to them. So it can be a stressful time both for the dog and for the owner. For the dog, consequent heats become better because they sort of get used to it. But the first heat is the one which is usually very stressful and confusing. So when do they get their period for the first time? Usually around the age of 6 months. Age can vary depending on the breed. Small size dogs get it earlier in life, large breeds get it later in life, and sometimes the heat is silent, which means that the dog is in heat, but you are not going to see any signs and symptoms. You might not even observe any bleeding. So, outwardly, you will not know that your dog is in heat, but that's not very common. Now, what is the frequency of their period and for how long? So usually dogs get it twice a year, like I explained before, some summer months and winter months. There are dogs of larger breeds who usually get it once a year, and very small breed dogs like Chihuahuas, Shih Tzus, Lhasas, they might get it 3 times a year or they might not. It really depends. The average length of this cycle is between 18 to 20 days. Sometimes it can go on for 20 to 23 days also. Not to worry about that. If it prolongs longer than that, then you need to get your dog assessed by a vet. Abhi, this cycle, it might look very medical to you. But the idea here is to not go into the medical jargon and just tell you कि क्या क्या होता है हर phase में, because based on the phase and the hormone production, their behavior is going to change. So the whole estrous cycle, the whole reproductive cycle, it is divided into four parts: proestrus, estrus, diestrus, and anestrus. तो pro-estrus वाला जो part होता है, so first 10 days of their period, that is when like the bleeding starts. You will observe drops of blood here and there, and you will see proper blood, मतलब red thick. यहाँ पे there's a lot of estrogen release, and in this period your female dog is going to attract male dogs. But if a male dog comes close to her, she will not allow mating. She'll just attract them, she'll not allow mating. So if she's not allowing mating, what's gonna happen when a male dog comes close to her? She's gonna put her tail between her hind limbs, and she's gonna be aggressive. She might snap. She might snap at you also if you are sitting close to her back. So in the first 10 days, you can expect her to be very snappy and cranky. And I would advise that you don't go too close to her back area because she's sensitive over there. You will observe excessive licking. She'll start licking her vulva a lot more than she usually does. And towards the end of the 10 days, you will see that that vulva is going to start getting swollen and red. It'll become like a pear or an apple, and you'd be like, oh my god, what's happening? But that's absolutely normal. Then, once those 10 days are over, in the next 10 days, this is the phase when your dog is going to be very fertile. And she's also going to feel like, oh, some male should come to her and hump on her. And she might try to hump on other males, objects, or things in your house, or even human legs. This is also a phase where she will try to run away from your house because she just wants to, mate. In this time frame, if you're talking about a street dog or a dog who does not have any restrictions, she will mate with multiple males. So one fact about dogs here is that they can have puppies from different males during the same pregnancy. So if there's like a female who's given birth to 6 puppies, it is a very high possibility, if it's a stray female, that these 6 puppies belong to 3 different dogs. That's like normal for dogs. So this is the time period when you have to be very careful if you don't want any puppies, that you monitor her behavior around other male dogs. You keep her on a leash, properly tight leash, when you are taking her out for a walk, because she's also going to try to run away. If you're keeping her in your balcony or in your gardens or something, she will try to dig holes there. She might try to jump off the balcony as well. So be very careful during this phase, because sometimes dogs end up injuring themselves. उसके बाद the diestrus phase comes. So this is like post 20 days, the diestrus phase, where the bleeding stops. And in this phase, the female will also not allow mating anymore. तो वो 9 to 10 days हो जाएंगे. उसके बाद she'll act like she doesn't want to mate. She'll not try to run away. She'll still be sensitive on her vulva, but she'll not try to go close to males, or she'll probably not let males close to her if it's for mating purpose. If during the estrus phase, if copulation occurs and if she becomes pregnant, then diestrus there is no diestrus phase. Then it's just pregnancy phase, which goes on for 60 to 65 days. If no fertilization occurs, then she like in that period, body will release a lot of progesterone, which is like the maternal hormone, and that will go on for 2 to 3 months. In this time period, she will not be cranky, but she might be a little needy. She might look for cozy spots in the house. She will act a little motherly. Then comes the anestrus phase, which is the resting phase. And here there are no hormone imbalances, or there is no extra estrogen coming out, or no extra progesterone. There is no massively hormone induced behavior, and this is called as the resting phase. Once 4 or 5 months of resting phase are over, she will come into the next heat cycle. So that's basically your reproductive cycle. You don't need to remember the names of these phases. You just need to know that first 10 days she is going to bleed and the blood is going to be thick and red and she is not going to allow mating. And the next 10 days, her blood will not be thick. It will become watery. It might become whitish. She will try to run away. She might attract a lot of males. She will pee a lot more because in their pee they release pheromones. So that smell attracts males. So she'll pee in drops, and instead of like peeing in one go, she'll just go to various spots and try to pee when you're out on a walk. Some females might do that inside the house also, but if she's well trained, she'll do this outside the house. Can we go on to the next slide? Yeah. I can't hear you.
I think very interesting. But if anybody has any questions, please you can write them in the chat box or also raise your hand and ask. But I think this was very informative.
No questions, I guess. We can go to the next. It's now pseudo pregnancy. So many times, what happens to us in the clinics is that a dog will come to us, like a female dog will come to us, and the owner will be like, "Oh, there's milk coming out of her tits, and why is that happening? Or her tits are extremely swollen, or like." Or she's acting snappy when you go close to her place, like why is this happening? So now this is basically your diestrous phase where the body is releasing a lot of progesterone, but since the female is not pregnant, the progesterone is making her believe that she is pregnant, so the body is preparing for a child, for a puppy that is probably not going to come. So this is a very normal physiological reaction. Most dogs go through it, but not all dogs have physical manifestation of it. So this milking from the mammary glands or swollen mammary glands or acting like a mother, these physical signs do not come in every dog, but in some dogs you will see these physical signs. But the hormone progesterone is increasing in all females. So if you have a dog who shows physical signs once, it is a very likely possibility that she will always show these physical signs. So, dogs who go through pseudo pregnancy and show these physical signs, it is very important to get them spayed because it is a stressful thing to go through this feeling every time you come into heat. And then these physical manifestations can also lead to diseases. Like, for example, if milk is coming out of the mammary glands, but there is nobody to drink it, the mammary gland is going to become fuller and fuller, and that milk is going to stagnate there. So it can cause mastitis. Mastitis is basically inflammation of mammary glands where that milk can become infected. There can be pus over there. So you will have to give them medicines to stop milk, give them hormones to stop that. And that's just like not a very fun process. So during the false pregnancy, they can produce milk. They can want to eat more. They might be aggressive, eat more because they are preparing for puppies, and they can make a nest for for their supposed puppies. So if they have any soft toys in the house, they'll just take all the toys and put it in one spot. So pseudo pregnancy can go unnoticed if there are no physical signs and symptoms, and that's great. But if there are physical signs and symptoms, then the stage will last for about 3 weeks, sometimes 4 to 5 weeks as well. And these will repeat after every heat cycle. Can we go on to the next slide? Now abhi heat ho gayi. Now we know what the stages are. So what are we going to see? What are the signs and symptoms? So we'll see bloody discharge and inflammation of the vulva. The vulva will become like a pear or an apple. In the first 10 days, the bloody discharge is going to be thick and very red. In the next 10 days, it is going to be pinkish, watery, whitish. You will see excessive licking. The dog might want to lick her paws a little more. She'll lick her vulva a little more. Somebody had asked a question if she's gonna lick her paws a lot more. I have not seen this a lot in paws. So if you you might want to like get her paws checked once that she's not irritated by something else in her paws. But the vulva bit happens and it's very normal. As long as you're not seeing a wound on the vulva because of the licking, it's fine. But make sure that she doesn't bite herself and create a wound on the vulva, because then that can lead to other problems. Change in urination habits. They will want to pee more during this time period. So like I said, if you take them out on walks, they will pee in small bits at every part because they want to mark their territory. They want to attract male dogs. Male dogs are gonna smell this pee. They might try to drink this pee. Yes, it's disgusting, but they do that. It's their normal behavior. And she will start getting friendlier with other dogs. Getting friendlier with other dogs is mainly an estrus phase. So the second part of the heat, the 10 days that we're talking about where the discharge is not very bloody, that's when your female dog will start getting friendlier with other male dogs. So usme kya karegi? If you take her out to socialize with a male dog, you will see these couple of stances. She'll raise her tail like that. She'll raise her ears and she'll jump around like, she's trying to attract someone. And the male dogs will try to lick their cheeks and they'll go and lick the vulva. Smelling vulvas and smelling the back areas for dogs is a common socialization process. But with dogs on heat, the licking bit also happens because they're like, so yeah. Then change in posture and position. So basically the tail goes like that. I already explained that to you. They'll be extremely jumpy. They'll try to mount and hump on things and other dogs. You need to be very careful. If you don't want to have puppies, you have to be very careful around male dogs, because you will not even realize if you leave them alone for 5 minutes the things that they can do in 5 minutes. And once they go into a lock position, you cannot break that lock. It's because it's gonna injure them. So then if they go into a lock position, then there's nothing you can do. Anxiety, agitation, and nesting. These are not This is not something that you will see in every dog, but maybe females who are experiencing heat for the first time, you might see anxiety and agitation more, but subsequently this reduces. Seeking out male dogs again happens in the last 10 days of the heat, where she'll be like, samne se she'll want to go towards male dogs. In the first 10 days, she'll attract male dogs, but she will not actively go and seek for them. Reluctant eating. Dogs might want to eat more, they might want to eat less, they become very moody. Don't force them. If they don't want to eat, let them be. Like, they'll eat when they're hungry. uh, a lot of dogs prefer tastier food in this phase, so give them more chicken, more eggs. Maybe increase their treats a little bit for these days because they crave for better smelling food. Mood swings can happen. They might vocalize a lot. They might bark a lot. They might snap. They might be very needy, very clingy, and it'll change on a daily basis. So there's no way for you to predict, oh, this is how my dog is going to be. At least not in the first time. Maybe after the couple of heats, you can predict how your dog is going to be when they're in heat. But in the first couple of heats, you're not going to be able to predict how she's going to behave. So you'll have to be just careful about it and be mindful of her space. Like, if she wants space, give her space. How are you going to take care of a dog in heat? If you don't want puppies and if you want to prevent a lot of diseases, spaying is a good place to start. If you spay, then you don't have to go through this cycle every 6 months. Your dog doesn't have to go through it. But let's say if your dog is not spayed, or if it is the first heat, then what all can you do? Make sure that outdoor walks are monitored, and be also like be try to be safe, not for your dog, for yourself as well, because this is the time when random stray dogs will appear out of nowhere. Like, close to my house, there are no stray dogs, like zilch. And when Pepper's in heat, dogs come from anywhere and everywhere. Like, there are dogs I have not seen around for months and they suddenly appear just because Pepper's in heat. Or kahin se bhi aa jayenge. So you want to be careful, because these dogs can get aggressive towards your dog. These male dogs get aggressive with each other. They can become aggressive towards you. So take care of the safety. Compulsory leash when they are on heat, especially if you don't want puppies. Avoid dog populated areas. Try to go to areas where there are less dogs. Monitor indoors as well, because they might try to run away. There are incidents where dogs have tried to jump off their balconies to mate because they're in their estrus phase. So try to be safe. Create limited space to avoid staining. So the blood that drops around, uh, if you don't clean it immediately, that's unhygienic. It can spread diseases. So it is better if you have like a confined space for your dogs where you keep a couple of towels and you keep her there for that period. I know it is not possible to do that in every house. So what I did for Pepper was I covered every surface of the house where she sits with a bed sheet, with a thick bed sheet. So the sofas are covered, the tables are covered, the beds are covered. And whenever staining happens, I just change the bed sheet and put a new one and put this one for wash. And if there are stains on the floor, you clean them immediately and you disinfect them. Then doggy diapers is another option. It's a newer option that people have been preferring these days. Doggy diapers are not comfortable for every doggy. So some dogs may do very well on it. For some dogs, they might try to tear it off. It might create rashes. So it's a very dog dependent thing. You might just want to try it and see how it works with your dog. If it works well, great. If it doesn't work well, it's fine. They don't bleed like taps. So it's fine कि इधर उधर थोड़ा blood drop आया और आपने साफ कर दिया. So that's fine. Some dogs who become very anxious, you can add supplements, calming supplements. A lot of calming supplements are available in the market. There's Angzo Care. There's sometimes vets prescribe gabapentin, so that they're just calm. If you think your dog needs a calming supplement, you should talk to your vet, because then they can prescribe the right kind of supplement or the medicine for your dog. Creating a cozy environment for them to rest. You need to engage more, because this is the time when they're very confused. So play more with them, but don't overdo physical exercises because they might feel tired. So you want to basically balance the rest and play, but you want to engage more than usual with them. Like, just tell them that you are, there. Can HBD oil help them in this phase? Yes, absolutely. It can. So
So in general, we can give them, right?
yeah,
HBD oil.
yeah, yes. It's actually good for the skin also.
Yes, yes, that's why I asked ki if we can give it in this phase also.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, you can. So yeah, that's about it. And itna hi lagta hai, but in a in like a slide, HBD oil is basically, it's how do I explain now? It's like, Mansi, can you help me out here?
Yes, it's like the herb oil. It is very beneficial actually for dogs. For humans also, but more for dogs, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, it is hemp oil. It is legal also for dogs. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
think it's also called CBD, not HBD.
Yeah.
CBD is also there.
Sorry, my bad there. It's CBD actually. My bad.
Either
I'm
hemp oil or CBD. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's actually very beneficial for them, and they started making these treats. These treats are, most dogs accepted like very easily, and it like they become really calm after it. I've seen quite a few dogs do very well on it. So I think that is about it. Do we have more slides? Q&A. So if you've got any questions, just put it in the chat, or you can even like put off your mic and talk. Like I said, it's very less information wise, but it is very difficult when this phase is actually going on, because you're dealing with different emotions almost every hour of the day. So it can become a little stressful. Do dogs feel pain during heat cycle? No, they don't.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So recently I had to get one of my community female dogs, dog spayed, and
Yeah.
she was in her heat. So
Okay.
what really happens when we get a dog spayed in a heat? Because since she came back,
Hmm.
she there have been episodes where she's like howling or howling, I guess, the moo wala rone wala sound that they make. And with her, two of her pups also went from her previous litter, because
Okay.
but so when she came back, only one of her puppies came back. The other one was still at the center. So we thought maybe she was howling or crying because of that. But
Hmm.
even when the second one came, the whining sort of reduced, but um, uh, still it was there. So, we were wondering what could it be? Was it something hormonal, or did the operation didn't go well, or is it in any way normal? Because she was paid when she was in her heat.
So it is not recommended to spay dogs when they're on their heat, but it is not recommended to do this because a dog could bleed more. So the spay surgery when they're in heat becomes very bloody. So it's
Yeah.
recommended that you do not do it when they're in heat. But if it's been done when she was in heat, I can't relate that to why the dog is whining or howling
Okay.
at night. So it could be related to the surgery. It is a possibility that it's not related to the surgery. So I don't know why she's whining, but scientifically, I can't think of a reason why it would be related to the surgery. Maybe she's just gone from a different environment as and has went to the hospital, came back. Maybe it's that, maybe it's something else. But I can't see like a direct science relation के भाई surgery में ऐसा कुछ हुआ होगा which is why she's whining.
Yeah, because earlier too I've got female spayed. Unfortunately, she had to be spayed because she was on a heat, and none of her puppies have ever survived. She's 8 years old, and only two females survived. We don't know how they survived, but they're the only two to survive in the span of 8 years. So when we discovered she was on heat, we immediately had to decide कि इसको कराना ही पड़ेगा spay, otherwise it's gonna get out of hand. And
In
yeah.
no no continue. I
So the two other puppies who were sent, they were again females. So when they came back, they're okay, they're fine. And we've checked her stitches as well, so they've healed fine. There's nothing that I can really spot over there. And otherwise, she's eating fine. But we've noticed that she's been going more frequently into the gutter water. So like
drinking.
no, no, not drinking, but going into it. Maybe it's because of the summers. She's been feeling more heat. Like we don't really know what it is,
And
but
for how long has this been happening?
so
How
she
many days
came.
has it
Um, the intensity definitely has reduced.
been?
But she came back on first of June. She was sent around a week ago, 1st June के पहले a week ago, and
Huh?
she came back on first. So definitely there was more howling initially. We couldn't really figure out. I thought maybe it's because of the abrupt hormone decrease or that change that she's feeling, because she's already 8 years old. And yeah, so
I mean,
it
even if
has.
it were to be because of the surgery, it would not go on for 15 days. So there's probably like sort of something else going on which is causing it because अगर surgery के वजह से होता तो it would have stopped in 5-6 days. Like if she is
Yeah.
doing well, if she is healthy, so there's probably something else. But ideally, in a situation like this where you don't want to have puppies, but the dog is in heat and it's a stray and you can't do anything, just wait for the heat to get over and do it immediately after the heat. So,
Okay, so when we talk about the heat to get over, which period are we talking about? Like after the
died the
watery
state.
discharge,
Yeah,
after
after
the
the watery
watery
discharge.
discharge has been done.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, all right. Yeah, it's a lot more convenient to get it done if you're getting it done privately. But we got in touch with an NGO,
Yeah,
and they do take decent care. But with them, what happens is at times they come in 10 days, or maybe they'll come 7 days after. When we registered the call,
yeah. No, no,
we
that
kept
makes
in
sense.
we kept in mind that they'll come after 10 days, but they came that day itself. And we obviously couldn't shoo them off because what
Yeah,
was more important was again to get her spayed.
yeah,
And what bad thing was happening was in the whole gang, everyone has been neutered. The male dogs have been neutered.
yeah,
She was remaining, and she was going into other gangs. So it
yeah.
was like it's gonna be a bloodbath. But thank you for clearing that up, Ki, because of surgery it cannot linger for that long.
Yeah. And also, I think with stray dogs, you have lesser options. So, like, you do if you can't catch hold of dog, or if you're getting it done by with an NGO, you have all these constraints. Like, even we've operated dogs before their first heat, just because we're scared के हम जब भी वो heat में आएगी, we will not be able to catch her, or we'll not be able to find this dog again. So you do all of these things with your stray dogs, but when you have an option to not do it, you try and avoid doing it. Otherwise, staying them when they're on the streets, that's the best solution to everything, because most of these puppies on the streets don't survive. Matlab, every litter, let's say if there's an average litter of 6 puppies, usme se either no puppies will survive or one puppy will survive. So that's usually an average, and that's like a lot of suffering, because these puppies, they suffer and die.
Yeah.
ऐसे नहीं है कि it's like a painless death. They'll get a viral infection, they'll come under cars. So all of these horrid things happen to them. So for stray dogs, I get it. Like, if you have to do it, you have to do it.
Yeah, and what about the ramifications of spaying a female before her first heat? Many people recommend it because they say, like what I have heard is that there's no chance of mammary cancer or yeah, no chance of mammary cancer in them because they've been spayed because of the first heat cycle. But then there's another group that argues that if you spay them before that, then maybe they're not going to have proper growth, their bones are
Yeah.
not going to be that formed. So like which is the better thing to do?
So you can spay them right before their heat, but it's difficult to know when they're going to come into heat, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you know that my dog is going to come into heat tomorrow? So right before the heat is also a good period to spay them, or right after their first heat. Why they recommend to not spay much before the first heat is because they need those hormones for their growth plates. So once the bone growth is complete, then you spay her after the first heat, after the second heat, it's fine. You need the bone growth, the bone plates to grow. So if when people come to me, I also tell them to get their pets spayed after the first heat. But if it is a stray dog, which I know that I can't catch when she is in heat, or I won't be able to find the dog there again, then I don't look at the time. If she is an adult, if she's 5.5 months, and then I just go ahead and do it.
Okay. Another question that I have is, as per my understanding, dogs don't go into menopause, do they?
Not really, not like that. But their heat frequency does decrease, and it does stop towards their end years, or it decreases. It doesn't really completely stop.
Yeah, because I have an 8-year Labrador, and last I remember, she got her heat like I guess more than 1.5 years ago.
Yeah, that
Um,
frequency decreases.
okay, so it becomes like what, once in 2 years of sorts.
That I can't say. It depends
Okay,
for, like, it's different for different dogs. So maybe once a year, once in 2 years. So yeah.
because
But
it's been so long, and we've been wondering whether it's maybe sort of cause for alarm or something like that. Maybe it's something else is wrong because when the heat didn't come for like that longer period, we were wondering क्यों नहीं आया थोड़ा सा भी आता little bit of spotting or something, but nothing was there. So I just wanted to clarify that.
so that's okay, but I labs or even any dogs, once they get older, apart from cancer, complications like pyometra or hydrometra or these diseases also can come up, because these diseases can go basically from the environment into the vulva and into the uterus, and it can infect the uterus. So if you have a dog who's not been spayed, and it's now, if she's 8 years old, she's not like really old, she's in her middle age, on the older side, then you should get her sonography done routinely to see that nothing is coming up, or you should spay her so that you are not scared that something's going to happen. Because pyometra also can be of two types. One is closed pyometra and one is open pyometra. तो ओपन में क्या होता है कि उनके वजाइना में से हीट आता है, पस आता है. So you look at the pus and you know that the uterus is infected, and it's an easier infection to clear. But when they get something as closed pyometra, then there is no discharge. And what happens there is, once the uterus is full of pus, and it comes to like a later stage where it's difficult to resolve that without a surgery, that's when the dog will start showing signs like fever, your dog will stop eating, and it can potentially be fatal also. So pyometra is basically pus in uterus, and hydrometra is water in uterus. So to avoid all of these things, you should spay your dogs. So your 8-year-old
So
dog also, if spaying is not an option, then you should get her sonography done frequently, once in 6 months, just to see that she's not coming down with something.
what to look for in the sonography?
They'll check the uterus. So on the sonography, you can see if there is water in the uterus or there is pus in the uterus. You can see that on the scan.
Right. She recently had an operation for kidney stones, and unfortunately बहुत सारे थे. पूरा uterus भर चुका था. Sorry, पूरा bladder भर चुका था. So is it
Okay.
possible because of this? Is there any link between this and her not getting heat? The stones were
Mhm.
deep embedded into the layer, whatever that layer is of the bladder. They had to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
pulled out. So is it
So
possible, because you mentioned about pyometra, and so I was wondering, is there a link between this and the heat?
not really. No, no, no.
Okay. Okay.
We have a
Thank you.
question. Yeah, sorry. What you were saying?
That answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, okay. How long heat starts can she get spayed? So after the heat, you can wait for about a month, including the heat cycle. So let's say if it has started right now and today is 13th, then you can wait till for 1.5 months. That will give you enough time for the heat to get over, and if she's going to go into pseudo pregnancy, then that will also get over, and you can get done post that. So 1.5 months to 2 months from the start of her heat. Yeah. Okay. Do we have any more questions? I can see someone's typing.
Hi, Chinat.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How's Pepper doing? I'm sure she's a big girl now.
Her is on her heat now. So
Okay.
and she is in her estrus phase. So she wants to hump every male dog that she sees. And there have been a lot of dogs coming here. And yeah, she's in that phase now.
I just recently saw her picture and I realized she's a big girl now.
Yeah, she's a big girl.
I wanted to ask you, I have these two dogs. One is a husky. She's gone into heat. Her going into heat is not a problem. I'm getting quite anxious because there's another lab and who's an intact lab. Actually, they are both from the same house. So
Okay.
I'm really getting anxious how to deal with it. I
Yeah,
try to separate them, but it's not happening. It's not possible because they're very used to staying
each
together.
other. So you could talk to the pet parent potentially that this is happening, because if they're trying to hump onto each other, then you're gonna have to either keep them in separate rooms or be around when they're like together. Or then for her case, I would suggest that you consider putting her on a doggy diaper, because that way he can't.
I spoke to the pet parent. They're saying she's not used to the doggy diaper. The pet parents suggested that you tie both of them, tether them, but I tried that. So there was a lot of crying and whining happening. In
Yeah.
separate rooms also, I did. Again, that was not working out. So, and I believe it's her sixth or the seventh day. So she might be entering that peak
Yeah.
where it's going to be more difficult now.
Yeah. Yeah. You are going to have to deal with the whining for some days because there's no other way. Like you'll have to keep them separately only, or I mean, you can ask one of your Yeah. 1 minute, just Pepper. नहीं नहीं ठीक है थैंक यू नहीं नहीं थैंक यू ठीक है वेट I'm sorry about that. So basically, yeah, you'll have to deal with the whining for a little while. If is this her first heat?
No, I think this is her third heat. As of now, what the thing is, the lab and her, they do sit together in the same room, but of course, someone is there all the time to keep a check.
Yeah.
So as of now, so the lab is managing the. He tries to sniff her, but then obviously we stop him. So he's okay, fine. He understands. He goes and sits on the other side of the room. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's almost 5.5 years. So is it possible an intact lab is not that interested?
I mean, there are a lot of dogs who act like siblings. Like I have a friend, she has a male and a female Shih Tzu, and from whatever I remember, they do not try to hump each other when she is in her heat phase. But if he's trying to smell and if he's being clingy with her, I don't think that's the case with them. You can also ask the pet parents what they do. She must have been on her heat twice before, right, at their house. So you can ask them what they did and do the same thing. And if they're recommending that you tie them, then you tie them. थोड़े time के लिए they'll whine, but then they'll settle down. It's going to be a little difficult for you to see it, but abhi it's just a matter of
That's what, because I've never, tied a dog before. So, tying two dogs, it was like little difficult for me.
yeah.
But going on heats is not a problem, but I'm getting quite anxious. Okay, I have spoken to the pet parents, but I'll probably speak with them again with how to
Yeah.
handle it.
Yeah. Or put them in separate rooms and let them like cry if they want to cry. Should I give her more food? Then no, sorry, wait. Do you have any other question?
So that's it. Thank you so much. Give my love
Can I
to
suggest
Pepper.
Yeah.
to Nidhi? Like,
Yeah.
maybe you can introduce them, like tie them up and make sure they have real good treats or a licky mat and slowly get them used to it. Maybe do this thing starting twice a day so that they anticipate, okay, when you're tying them, this is what is happening. Give them some some sort of treats or sniffer puzzles or some sort so that they know that this good is coming when we are being tied.
Did try that. Probably I can give some of these things try, a shot again. Because initially I did give them a treat. I gave a toy. So they were fine for some 5-10 minutes, but probably फिर then they realized कि oh हमको तो बांध दिया गया है and we are different corner of the room.
Or you
So
can tie them in the same room, but close for them to be able to sniff each other, but not close enough for them to, do their thing.
Yeah. I think another thing, like I think Mojo, right? Mojo will have to be on.
Mojo
Mojo,
enjoy.
yeah, Mojo will have to be on leash now because as you will have Mojo will have to be leashed because as Dr. Chinar said that the tendency to run away also increases. So just
For the female also.
for the female, that's what I'm saying. Mojo is female,
Yeah.
right? So
Okay.
Mojo
No,
will
Mojo is male.
okay,
Joy
Joy
is
is the
female.
female. Yeah, so then I think Joy will have to go on leash now.
Mojo and Joy, are they this one's dogs?
Yeah.
Shree's dogs. They're Shree's dogs.
Yeah, they are
Yeah, yeah,
cute.
these dogs. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Are Mojo and Joy, as far as I remember, aren't the kind of dogs who will want to mate with each other. But no, I'd be careful.
Yeah, so
I
I think Joy should be leashed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let me see how this works out because I am kind of, started losing my sleep over this thing. At night, I can get up to check. I hope, they are in the different, though, I've started tying Mojo, but then
Yeah.
he kind of whines and cries, and I give him
Yeah.
a treat or something, but then he's a big dog. He doesn't want to play with toys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Joy will also need to be leashed. Being a husky and being on heat, I
He's
think.
also a very active dog, so
Yeah, she need to be leashed. Yeah.
And they told me that her heats probably last for about 7 to 10 days. Is it, does this also happen, or with every dog it's
no, it's
18, 20
20
days?
days, but it's a possibility that the light red discharge that I was talking about in the in the estrus phase, the next 10 days, it's possible that it's very less. So you may not see it, or she may lick it before it even comes out. So
Yeah,
ऐसे
that's
लगता है
what
7 to 10 days का है, but it's not like that.
he
So
does lick it at times, or even if I see it, on the floor, I clean it. But I'm still confused whether it's the, that first stage, or has it moved on to the second stage, or I'm more worried about the peak that is about to come.
it's okay. You're gonna be fine. It's going to be okay. There's one more question that I'd like to take up. It says, should I give her more food than usual during this heat phase? If she's asking for it, you can give her more food than normal. It's completely fine. Monitor her stools during this period. Like, more food should not equate to diarrhea. So just monitor her stools and you should be fine. She's pooping twice, that's fine. 3 times भी चलेगा, बस diarrhea नहीं होना चाहिए. Oh, she's already pooping twice than once. ठीक है, 2 to 3 times is fine. Uh, don't exceed it to a level where the poop is not in control, but it's okay. If she wants more food, give her more food. And deworm her also, if that's not been done.
I have another question it's about pseudo pregnancy. So,
Yeah.
one thing that you said was if, for example, a dog gets it during her first heat cycle, she's bound to get that whenever she goes into heat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what if a dog doesn't get it when she's on her first heat cycle? Does it mean that she'll never get it, or it's possible she
She's
can?
are low, no, she can develop it later in life.
Why does it happen? What causes it?
So basically during this phase your body releases progesterone. When your body is releasing progesterone, it means that your body thinks that you are pregnant and you need to prepare for puppies that are going to come. When your body is going to have puppies, then mentally it will be like, okay, if puppies are coming out, what all am I going to need for puppies? I'm going to need to be more protective of myself so that I can protect my puppies. I'm gonna need to produce milk so that my puppies can have milk. I'm going to have to create safe space for my puppies to be birthed where they can sleep. So when progesterone is releasing in the body, your body tends to think all of this, and that's why pseudo pregnancy happens. Now, pseudo pregnancy happens with 95% of the dogs, but it is not necessary that every dog will show signs of nesting, of producing milk, of being protective.
We see their teeth being a bit
They
how
can
do I
be
say
swollen.
plumper.
Yeah.
Yeah, they okay, all right, okay, thank you.
Do we have any more questions?
Mm. Do we have? I think is Neha there, because I think Neha had some questions. Or Neha's not there. She's probably dropped off. Okay.
There's one more. It's
Sure.
so in case if a dog gets pregnant, that scenario, then what's the best thing that's done? Like in case they run off or they get pregnant, then
I
what
mean,
happens?
if now that really depends on what you want to do. When I got my dog spayed, not my first dog spayed, she was pregnant, and we aborted the puppies because I was in my second year of college and there was no way I could have taken care of 8 puppies. So yeah, those many puppies, we could see it on the scan. But post the post the heat, we aborted them. So it is really your decision. If you want to keep the puppies, then you let the pregnancy get over, let the puppies come out, let the lactating phase get over, and then consider spaying her. Or you can immediately after after the heat, even if she's pregnant, you can get her spayed.
And what if this thing that you suggest is for the time when maybe we don't know she conceived and she got pregnant, but what if we know we saw them like conceiving? So are there sort of some injections or something if we know कि अच्छा ऐसा हो गया है, then
नहीं, there are no injections yet or
okay.
treatment sort of up, not in dogs abhi tak. There are some researches going on, some drugs coming up, but abhi tak there is no such way.
Even then you won't recommend to spay them if we've seen them conceiving and we know कि puppies आने वाले हैं, so it's better to wait for the puppies to come and then spay.
हाँ, मतलब exactly what I said. That depends on you. If you want the puppies to come, you let the pregnancy get over, let the puppies come, then let the puppies grow up till the age of 2 months, and then you spay the
Yeah.
dog.
Or thanks.
Awesome. I think your dog's also going under heat, right? She's in heat right now. And it's the first.
Yeah, yes, this is her first time, and like this is our first time having a dog, so it's really it was scary at first, but because she was in daycare, a boarding daycare, we had an emergency and had to put her there for 3 4 days, and there were other male dogs, and usually they just run after her all the time, and she just barks them away if they try to hump her most of the time. And just the day, like after 3 days when I got her home, I saw that she was bleeding. So I don't know if she had started bleeding in those 3 days that she was in daycare, or she just started after she came home. I have no idea about that. So I was really scared that maybe pregnancy ho to nahi gayi ho, yeah, something like that. But then I was told that, it takes 7 to 8 days at least after it starts,
Yeah,
after the
yeah.
heat cycle starts.
The second phase, the next 10 days that I was talking about, the estrus phase, that's when it happens. But if you have too many doubts, then what you can also do is post the heat gets over, wait for a couple of days, and you get a sonography done. If there are puppies and if they're too tiny, you might not be able to see it on the sonography. But if you wait for a couple of days, you'll be able to see it on the sonography. Or if you don't want any puppies and you're sure of that, then you just let the heat cycle get over and you spay her abhi only.
Yeah, that was our plan. As soon as this heat gets over, we are planning. We were actually planning for June only. This
Huh.
this month only we planned, and this month only she got her heat. And yeah, but she's become really bony for some reason. I feel like she's become more slim. Like even though we are feeding her the same amount, up though I'm giving her even more than, like, just a week before her heat started, she had not been eating the afternoon wala food. So I give her meal 3 times a day. Afternoon wala food she had stopped eating, and that was strange because she would never refuse food.
Okay.
And then I thought ki maybe she has grown, and it's like now she's 1 year old and almost, so maybe now she's not going to eat 3 times and only eat 2 times. So that
Yeah.
was my thought. But after her heat started, she's again started eating 3 times. Even like she actually asks for it. She gets like ज़्यादा भूख लगती है उसको.
It's okay. If she wants to eat more, let her eat more. But she has been dewormed.
Has been dewormed, yeah.
Okay, so that's fine. It's okay if she's
May
eating
में
more.
आई नहीं.
But if she has become very bony, then so it's normal for them to lose some weight because all their energy is going somewhere else right now. But if she has become
Okay.
very bony, then you should also get a blood test done just to see everything is fine over there.
Little.
हाँ,
Okay.
because she went to a boarding also. वहाँ से कुछ ticks
Yeah,
wicks
she was
आए तो
running around a lot.
so just if you think that she has lost a lot of weight, then you should get a blood test done. If it's like normal, 1-2
Okay.
kilo कम हुआ है, then I wouldn't worry.
And I've not diaper trained her. Do you think should I start now or should I just leave it?
If
I
you
just put.
हाँ स्टे अगर स्टे करने ही वाले हो तो it's fine, let it be. But if you think that
Okay.
you might take some time to stay her, then getting them trained, she's an easy dog, you can give it a shot. Might help you in the
I've
future.
tried before. She just chews it off most of
So
the time.
let it be then. Let her be.
Mm. And bleeding usually takes place for the whole 20 days. It just reduces in the amount.
Yeah, the amount reduces, the consistency changes. Like first 10 days you'll see red, proper thick red.
Yeah,
And then
dark
next
red, yeah.
day, 10 days you'll see like pink water, white. Sometimes you might not see anything because they just lick it off. So yeah, that depends.
One thing I definitely miss once she's like get paid, I feel like she's become really cuddly and she's like very calmly coming and all lovingly she'll approach. Pehle nahi tha aisa. Only since she started this heat has come. She comes and she wags her tail all the time. She she tries to approach us, which is
So I think enjoy while it lasts is what I would say for this.
yeah. So this is not going to happen when she's paid, I guess.
No, I mean, after the spay, also you'll see lots of different kinds of emotions. Like they do eventually, female dogs especially do become cuddly eventually in their life. Spay ke baad, they also, if you've got like a very hyper dog, they calm down a little bit. Their weight increase tendency also increases. So weight gain tendencies increase. So फिर उसमें
Oh.
exercise and all you have to add to their routine more than usual. So different kinds of changes to observe once they are spayed, and you will not see those changes immediately after the surgery. It happens over a period of a couple of months. But I mean, if your dog is loving, she's gonna stay loving throughout, regardless of the surgery.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
Awesome. I think, yeah. This was a great session, Dr. Chinar. I got to know so many things. And I've never had a female.
Yeah.
I've never had a female dog, so I've not gone through some of these things. But I think, and last time around, I was planning to get one before you walked into our life. But yeah, I think it was very, very informative, and I'm sure everybody here has also learned a lot of things on how to manage. Even something as simple as that, like pehle 7 days nahi, but next 7 after the first 7 to 10 days, you need to be more careful. I think that itself is like a discovery. That okay, that's the time when we need to actually keep the dogs separate and make sure that they're not humping. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. China. I hope everybody's questions have been answered and hope to catch you again soon on another topic.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
We'll share the hub.
Thank you.
We'll be sending that across through WhatsApp to everybody who joined in today. Thank you so much.
Bye.